is the first law, and it's a behavioral law. We have to look at the facts. The first law is most people, for most things, buy a repertoire of brands. Repertoire is a fancy word for range or bunch. And we talk about the consideration set. This is the scientific way we talk about it. You buy a repertoire of brands, and that's the same for almost every product you get. There are some caveats. There are some exceptions. Subscription products play by a slightly different set of rules, but we're not going to get into that today. We don't have time. You're nodding. You're like, oh yeah, subscription. Totally. And he did. And there are all his products. He has 77. So he makes you feel a little better, right? About how many pairs of jeans you have. But notice where Patagonia is, because that's what he said his favorite brand is. He loves Patagonia, and it's not even the #1 brand he buys. Now, granted, that's because he only discovered Patagonia recently, and he's changed his repertoire. He used to buy, obviously, a ton of Nike and North Face, but now he realizes that he prefers Patagonia for their social mission. So those are two interesting data points. What about the rest of the data? Around the world, in category after category, we see another pattern. Not only are we repertoire buyers, but the more you buy a category, like soda, how many sodas a year do you buy? How many brands do people buy? And the data show, and this is from 3 different countries around the world, the more soda you buy per year, the more brands you buy. And that's probably the same for you and your jeans and your underwear. If you're really into underwear, you probably have a lot of different brands of underwear. And this is the law of the increasing repertoire. It gets worse. If you look at the 100% loyal, which is, again, what we think about, what we dream about as brand people and marketers, we want 100% loyalty. You find out that the only people who are 100% loyal only bought the category once, which makes sense because de facto you can only buy one brand. If you only buy 1 roll of toilet paper a year, we're going to get to toilet paper in a second, then de facto you're 100% loyal. But if you buy more, who's really into whiskey? Yeah. How many different brands of whiskey do you buy? Shout it out. 60? 80? As many as possible. Who's really into lip gloss? How many brands do you have? Too many. There you go. So that's, again, a natural law that we forget or we've never even noticed. And a lot of this research comes from Australia before the internet, which is why it's taking a long time for it to get around the world and get into our brains as marketers, especially in North America. There's a place called the Ehrenberg Bass Institute, and they pioneered a whole lot of these empirical studies to say not what marketers believe should happen about loyalty, but what really does happen when it comes to loyalty and our behavior. So our behavior looks like this. We don't sleep around, but we might shop around. So this is the second law. The more someone buys a category, the bigger their repertoire. If you're really into jeans, you have a lot of brands of jeans. If you're really into whiskey, you buy a lot of different whiskeys. If you're really into lip gloss, you have too many brands. And this makes some other things sense that used to look nonsense. This people laughed at. It is funny. He's got a monster tattoo, but he's drinking a Red Bull. So the marketing novice to brand science says, what an idiot, or what a maroon. But now that you know a couple laws, you might say either both of those brands are in his repertoire, and maybe we just don't see his Red Bull tattoo, which is a huge tramp stamp right there. Or he's a heavy category buyer, and he buys tons of energy drinks, and so he drinks a lot of different brands, and he doesn't care. He doesn't see any inconsistencies with this, but we laugh at it because this is the truth about brand loyalty, that either we never really tried to test, or we just believe what we want to believe and see and feel and hear, which is, loyalty is everything and shoppers are loyal.